Good morning, all. Good morning, and happy Monday. Happy Leap Day. It's that extra day that we have so far this year, so let's make sure we're using it wisely. I think it's a great way to start it. So I'd like to welcome you all to the return of Motivation Mondays. I thought we'd personally start with a great Zig Ziglar quote here on motivation. People often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing, and that's why we recommend it daily. I personally love this quote and it reminds me every day that when I wake up, I just need to start my day with a bang so I can be as successful as possible. And I think with sales, this is so important. You have to start with that internal motivation to make sure that you are as successful as possible. So with the start here of Motivation Mondays, this one I'll tell you is going to be different than the others. So in the future, I'll keep these brief, we'll keep these to the point so we can pack as much useful information in as possible. But today I am going to go over a brief introduction of myself and then kind of go through the setup in the future. And we're going to just walk through a few things about how these are going to work. So we're going to start with a little bit of information about me, great subject there. So I'm currently in sunny San Diego, and I'm relatively new to California in general, but I love it so far. I'm from the good old Midwest state of Minnesota. I did my time in winters there, and I decided to move to a place that doesn't have snow. After on Christmas, when you're dealing with 24 to 48 inches of snow in one day, you can't take it. So far California's been treating me pretty nice. Only snow I've seen has been up in the mountains, so they can keep it there. I'll keep it here. No snow on the beach. We're good to go. So I've been in sales, sales management, or training role for over the past 15 years, kind of dating myself a bit there. And I was a top performing sales representative at a company for 2 years, and I moved into a sales management role. I really enjoyed sales management because one thing I got to do is really help agents utilize their skills and just make small tweaks in their process to really greatly increase their numbers. And in that role, I started with a very bottom team in this company. So we had about 15 teams. It was the very bottom, number 15 out of 15, and I worked in a really hard territory with them, mainly Utah and Idaho. And I took a team in 9 months from the very bottom to number 3. And I know what you're thinking, number 3, not number 1. Well, with the group of people I had, I was really ecstatic about number 3. We fought so hard. From there, I got moved to a middle team. I moved them to number 2, and in the end of the company threw me on the very top team. Just to help increase it as much as possible. I really liked it, but I'll tell you, I've always had a passion for training. So I moved to the company sales trainer. To let you know, this is my 5th year of insurance sales training, and I absolutely love it. I couldn't be happier. The field is great. It's ever changing. And you know what? Every day you wake up and you can guarantee that there is going to be something different. So I have my master's in adult learning. So really, my master's is in training, and that's what I enjoy doing. It's a huge passion of mine if you really can't tell. But I'm also an avid traveler, kind of a little more on the personal side here. So, which has been great, San Diego, because I'm 15 minutes from Mexico. I go down there a lot. I love to explore. The picture on the right-hand side is of tacos I had a few weeks ago. They were mind-blowing. And I'm super outdoorsy. On the weekends, you will find me outside hiking. This was a hike that I did there in Palm Springs, which isn't super far, but that was the snow I saw. It was on January 2nd. I made myself a promise this year I would not see snow, and I blew it on the 2nd. So not doing so hot on that one, but it's okay. So that's kind of just a brief overview about me, kind of let you know more about me and get to know me a little better. So the format for these, for Motivational Mondays, this is always subject to change with your feedback. Super open-minded. I want to make this as useful as possible for you, the agent. So we're going to start with the tip of the week. That will be things like important dates that are coming up or things that we are noticing that we're getting a lot of questions on. This is really there to keep you updated on things that might be happening in the overall insurance industry or with any of our carriers so that you're in the loop on those very important things. Then we're going to go over any AHCP trends. So kind of what agents are selling a lot of, or maybe some areas of opportunity that we might have the products to help fill in those gaps. And in the end, we're going to have a sales technique or two. This is the area that I'll tell you I like most. Working in sales for so long and training for so long, I think I can give a lot of little pointers to help just increase your close rate and maybe get more clients to talk to you in general. So we'll start with the tip of the week. So for the tip of the week, I actually have two this week, just based on the questions that I've been getting. And I've been getting a lot of calls and emails for it. The first is the e-signature for the NHIC application. First off, yes, it does need to be completed. We're just going to throw that out there. And it's an email that your client will get. We've been seeing that we've been selling just a ton of the NHIC products, so the Interim Care and the Trio Med. And so this is important that it happens. Now what's going to happen is your client receives an email from our application system. There was a fix to it recently, so instead of having a long URL, you'll see the highlighted part there. So they just go and click, and it's like all other e-signature processes. So it lets your client create an account and then go through and choose our applications and attest to them. The reason why you want your client to make sure to do this, it's going to give them access to their back door for NHIC products, and that's going to let them change their payment types. I know a lot of times with clients, they want to start with credit card and then move to a checking or savings account. They can do that themselves there. And also lets them view any policy documents, so they're not calling around random numbers trying to get policy documents. I know as a salesperson, I like to keep my clients in consistent control. And this way, I still have control over the whole process, and I'm not going to lose them to somebody else picking up a phone or trying to answer a question for them. Another tip of the week that I get a lot of questions on, it's been leads. Everybody wants to know about leads. Obviously, that's great. So one thing I wanted to bring up is the area of eAgent Center that doesn't seem to be utilized consistently. So when you log into your eAgent Center, at the bottom of the page on the left-hand side, there is a leads option where you can utilize your lead credits. Big. This is an area where you can look at, first off, how much do you have in lead credits right now? So take a look at the credits section. You may have a lot of money there just sitting there not being used. Utilize it. It's yours. You have earned it. Below that, you can see the orders section. So that's where you can go to order new leads. The leads get loaded into the bottom of the leads area. If you have any questions on it, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I can walk you through how to use it. Just taking a look though, I just saw that there was a lot of balances laying out there from people who've had some questions. I've walked a few people through it, so please use this lead section. It's money you've earned, and it can get you more clients, and it's just going to help you keep earning more and more and more. So those are my two big tips of the week, is about the e-signature and the leads. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. And now we're going to kind of take a look at some trends. I thought these were really fascinating, personally. So right now, open enrollment, it closed so recently, and the market's really starting to adjust to the normal, outside of open enrollment swing. So knowing that major medicals aren't going to be, just shooting fish in a barrel there, and that we're going to need those SEPs, there's been a huge growth in short-term coming. So I'll tell you, with the short-term medical, taking a look, NHIC is a huge part. So those interim care products, they're almost 80% of all the short-term sales. So they're great. I think one thing that really surprised me though is that there were very few guaranteed issue short-term sold. So keep in mind that NHIC does offer that GI short-term outside of open enrollment. This is great because now you don't have to turn away clients because of medical conditions. There is the guaranteed option out there. Now, from the people who've asked me questions on this, it's at the bottom of your carrying benefits screen. So if you scroll all the way down, you're going to see the GI short term there in the writing link. There's also been a really nice growth with Trio Med, a growth in our dental products, but it seems like our accident and critical illness sales were down. And that really stood out to me. They weren't down a ton, but I thought they would be just skyrocketing right now. I think the thing that we have to keep in mind is that we need to change our mindsets right now when it comes to sales outside of open enrollment. Most people are calling us with qualifying life events, and they're calling because they lost their insurance from work. Now, with most companies' work insurance, they aren't losing just their health insurance, but they're also losing their dental, they're losing their short-term disability, their long-term disability, their life insurance. These can be made up when we sell them an insurance package, more than just the short term. These people are used to having all those different benefits, or more than just the major med, sorry, all the different benefits. And so it's one thing that we should try to keep in mind. So the last insurance company I worked for, I sat next to claims, okay? 80% of our claims were accidents. 80%, that number is huge. I personally think that there should be an accident policy on every insurance plan that is sold. If you think about it, if it's going to be 80% of the claims, you're kind of doing a disservice to let your client walk out the door without that accident plan. One thing that I like to do, and it's really helped my teams increase both their critical illness sales and their accident sales, is explain on the plan what happens if something big happens to a client. So I use the $100,000 example. And I take $100,000, kind of paint this picture of just a huge catastrophic situation happening and explain how their insurance plan works. And I usually use something, they fell down the stairs, they busted both their legs, and it wound up costing $100,000. Explain how the major medical plan works, or short term if that's what you're selling, using their deductible and out-of-pocket max. Then I explain what would happen if we add the accident policy on. I explain, what percentage of claims are happening with that, and how a lot of these plans are made more as kind of that catastrophic what-if insurance. I also like to try to let them know about the critical illness policy, because 80% of the claims are accidents, 17% of the claims were for critical illnesses. So really, if you add those both together, you're giving them the best coverage possible. We know that most clients don't have that short-term medical deductible in their account to pay, right away in cash. So if you go through and add that accident plan, add that critical illness plan, it's really going to help increase, just their peace of mind, and you're just covering them on all sides possible. In the future, we may go more in depth into the numbers of the trends with the exact products. I just thought today we would start with a nice quick overview of just the general trends between 2 weeks ago, last week, and this week. So what we're kind of expecting there. So really focus on those accident and critical illnesses. I'll tell you, that's where all the comp is laying right now anyway. Those ancillary products are huge. They should be huge. With the changes in the health insurance market, this is an area that you should really be focused on. If you want any advice on accident plans to sell, or any great critical illness plans that you're working through, please reach out to me. Don't hesitate. So we're getting into the sales technique. So you're going to be kind of thinking, voicemail, what the heck? And we're kind of flying through this, and I'm trying to keep it brief and to the point for you, but I can talk about voicemails forever. So this is a huge selling tactic that most of us in the insurance industry really, I'll tell you, we overlook. Yes, we realize the product we're selling is more of a need-based product, that they need insurance, but there's a lot of options out there, and we all love one-call closes. That is just not realistic in sales. And in a few weeks, we're going to talk a little bit more about closing strategies, not the whole philosophy of banging them over the head with a big, huge wooden mallet at the end, but more of how we can work into an assumptive close. But one thing I hear a lot from agents, at least what they like to tell you to your face, is, if I talk to them, I'll close them. Well, let's get more people on your phone. How about that? So one thing right away is most people will not answer their phones if they don't know the number, right? It's really common right now. People see a random number on their cell phone. They're not going to. They're just going to swipe it, send it to message, right? So they let it go to voicemail. So you really need your voicemail to stand out. The one thing that has increased is people are more willing to check their voicemails. If you don't get their attention right away, you're completely wasting their time. So biggest tip, biggest tip, and I will tell you from working with adults, especially in learning, is keep it brief. Keep the voicemails under 30 seconds max. One thing I love to do is I love to get voicemails on my phone, and I really like to analyze them and listen to them. One thing that my sales mentor told me about 10 years ago was really you need to be brief, you need to be bright, and you need to be gone. no one's going to listen to a long message. That's just not the attention span anymore. Really, the quicker you can do a voicemail, the better. If you want them to hear the whole thing, keep it under 30 seconds. That's really the normal attention span you're playing with now. Another tip is don't start it like everybody else with your first name. Like, hi, this is Dan. I'm selling X insurance. No one cares. They're going to hear what your name and what you're doing, and they're just going to be done. So one thing to do is start with their name and give the reason for your call. Give them a value proposition right away. Let them know what they can benefit from listening to this whole voicemail. So you got to keep it brief. Don't start with your name, but start with a value proposition. And another thing, and don't let this knock you off your seat right now, keep in mind, don't sell. Since you can't close them because it's a voicemail message, don't sell. Give them a value statement. Maybe focus on really just getting their attention. The most important thing you can do is create some sort of interest instead of really trying to do a hard sales pitch. And this one here, the only reason why I put it in is because I heard an agent do it a few weeks ago. Don't reference failed attempts. Don't be like, hey, John, this is Dan. This is the 5th voicemail I left you. Things are going horrible. You're not picking up my calls. You really hate me. No. It's basic, but you want to keep it positive. People respond best to positive people. People don't like being told, hey, you didn't do this. They're just going to avoid you forever. And then my personal pet peeve is don't ask them to call you back. Make this small change for me this week. This is the one thing I really want you to do when you're leaving voicemails is remove, give me a call back. If you tell an adult what to do, they will not do it. Use this instead. I can be reached at. Don't tell them what to do. Just tell them, hey, you know what? I can be reached at this number. And you know what? You're going to see a huge increase in your voicemails. Honestly, you really will. That small tweak is one thing I did on every sales team I took over. I said, eliminate, give me a call back at. It's I can be reached at. I don't want to tell somebody what to do. I want to give them that option. And the last is be different. So this one is kind of fun. I was having a conversation with an agent about this last week in Florida, and she said what she would do is she would change up her talking speed. So kind of, do really brief hi on the voicemail right away, use their name, grab their attention, talk a little faster so that maybe they couldn't understand everything, but then slow down on the end and not keep a consistent beat on the end of her voicemail. And that was really enough for her to stand out that people wanted to call her back because first off, they were confused. Who the heck is this person? You don't have to give out all your cards on the voicemail, and then kind of the why. Why should they talk to you and why should they call you back? So kind of a quick sales technique. In the future, we'll go more into, tone inflections, increasing close rates. I was keeping this one today brief. It's really about voicemails. And if you don't think that is something that's valuable to your business, you are letting leads slip right through your hands, honestly. If you do just a few of these, my biggest one is don't ask to be called back. You will see an increase in the number of people wanting to talk to you. So, questions for next Motivational Monday. So, if there are any questions on anything from today that you have, there's an email address at the bottom. I will let you call my cell phone and leave me as many voicemails as you want, and we can work on that together. Please don't be shy. But if there is something that you want me to make sure to cover as far as it goes, let me know. That training at ahcpsales.com. I'm the one who watches that box. I get it on my phone. I can never get away from it, so please use it. Don't be shy from it at all. Guaranteed, if you do have a question, about 15 other people do as well. So I think we're going to end it today a little early, and I'm glad that I actually was able to keep it under the time. I want you guys to be able to get back out there. I want you to sell, and I hope you're feeling a little pumped up and willing to take those small techniques and make those tiny changes. But I really would like to end with a great Babe Ruth quote. I'm a huge Babe Ruth fan there. And his is, you just can't beat the person who never gives up. So let's make some great sales today. Create those insurance packages, change that mindset from, hey, I'm just selling you just one insurance plan to, I'm going to sell you an insurance package of all these different things like you had at work before you lost it. Let's change our voicemails and try to make those more effective. And please don't hesitate to reach out to me at any questions. And have a great Monday, y'all.